Hey, hello again. Connie King here to share some thoughts from this week. I was reading from one of my little books I usually post words of wisdom from. The name of this is Wisdom for the New Millennium. I thought this was a really neat little book. Wisdom for the New Millennium. So a lot of the posts that you see me posting online come from the likes of these type of books. I like reading positive things and sharing positive quotes. Here's one that stood out, and I thought it was quite appropriate for the climate that we're in now. If our people are to fight their way up out of bondage, we must arm them with the sword and the shield and the buckler of pride, belief in themselves and their possibilities, based upon a sure knowledge of the achievements of the past. Based upon a sure knowledge of the achievements of the past. Mary Mcleod Bethune, who of course you know has a university named after her because she was a terrific and phenomenal educator. She was one of those pioneers who wanted to make sure that blacks received an education, a higher education. But I have a question for you. How then can you become who you're meant to be without a glimpse of who you were? Looking to the past is necessary to build a sturdy foundation, the blueprint, if you will, of what to build. How can a people build on greatness when it has not been acknowledged or taught? I know when I was going to school, I did not receive any of my history. I didn't receive the whole story, the rest of the story. Only slavery and a handful of who those teaching the class considered black heroes. So how can a people build on greatness when it has not been acknowledged or taught? How can one rise from the ashes when no hope or direction is given? How? I saw a post the other day that read, "No white person living owned slaves and no black person living was a slave. We cannot move forward by living in the past." I thought about that for a moment. Although the senses of that statement may be true, there's more to it than that. Oh yeah. You see, there's a film and a residue of the past that is still visible today. You cannot see your way clear looking through a dirty window. The window of hope, our hope, is covered with the residue of our ugly, very ugly racist past. Society today is misled, misguided, and mistakes are prominent, but they're labeled politically correct. Misconceptions are deemed misunderstandings, when in fact it's a blatant disregard and or a simple racist motivation. The country's vision is not clear. The old vision of not allowing persons of non-white ancestry equal access and treatment is residue from the past, still clouding our progress and our unity. The residue remaining is a reminder of a very ugly past, a past that plagues us now today in our homes, our schools, our workplaces, our churches, our synagogues, and social circles, not to mention political arenas. We look to the past to study it and improve the future. Racism is not political, it is shameful, despicable, and a disgrace to every human being breathing air. It is a stain on humanity. The current climate is a direct result of yesterday's Garden of Divide. The vision was planted and now the harvest is here. The harvest need not be pruned but dug up, planted, and now the harvest should be left to dry out. It must be dried out with the light of truth, equality, justice, and responsibility. How dare this country make empty promises, but collects on threats to a people they considered animals and property for decades. What is even more deplorable is that some persons sitting in seats of decision still harbor the same mindset, ideals, and agendas. Oh, we have work to do. I understand it will not be easy or pleasant. Correction rarely is, but necessary. But I believe as a people we can do this. How do we do this? We do this by supporting each other. We do this by not tearing each other down. We do this by believing in each other. We do this by becoming humble and present ourselves to each other. We are what we've been waiting for all along. Unfortunately, it took the death, one more death, of a black man for us to come to our senses. Of course, we're concerned with black-on-black crime, but that is not the focus, because it is the focus within the focus. We are well aware of tragedies and violence, and then to speak to us about black-on-black crime. Do you know where we learned how to be so ugly and evil to each other? We learned it from the past. Lynchings, burnings, lootings, castrations. When black men and women went out to try to vote or even learn how to read. So please, hypocritical America, stop. Don't talk to us about black-on-black crime. And if you study the statistics, crime against persons of their own likeness or ethnicities are higher than black-on-black crime. And you should know, you intelligent ones, that when you leave a people to their own devices, when they begin to feel hopeless, helpless, worthless, useless, crime happens. So please, let's stay focused on what will make us great again. Our slogan, in all honesty, should have been, let's make us great again. Because as I said in a previous talk, they did not bring over slaves from Africa. They brought over kings, queens, princes. They brought over royalty. They brought over critical thinkers. That's who we are, and that's from where we come from. We must understand who we are. A lot of us would not be in situations that we're in if we knew who we were. I'll read this from What Makes the Great Great, written by Dennis P. Kimbrough. In this paragraph, yet this is the source of the most disturbing paradox. With the greatest treasure within their grasp, the majority of people neither know they possess it nor use it, but spend the bulk of their time criticizing and mimicking others, playing a worthless game of conformity. No two of them are exactly alike, yet they pretend they are by allowing others to do their thinking. They have in their possession the most precious treasure on earth, and they don't even open the box. Something to think about. What makes us great? The way that we treat each other, the way that we are with each other. We are our brother's keeper. We haven't been doing a very good job. We cannot rely on others to do it for us. Growth comes from within. And here's what I've noticed lately. People that I thought I knew are now living from the inside out. And what's on the inside is not so pleasant suddenly. I'm shocked, and not the response, but the reaction to a very disturbing climate. But as I sat and I thought about it, why am I surprised? Human beings are the best chameleons in the world. But my grandmother once told me, a person can only pretend for so long, and then the sheet is pulled back. Well, the sheet has been pulled back. What are we going to do at this point? We don't run, we don't panic, we don't loot, we don't burn, but instead we educate ourselves and those that are closest to us. We join forces with each other. We come clean. We admit even we have biases and prejudices within ourselves. There is no room for that if we're going to proceed together. So, thanks for tuning in. Next time. Take care.